Welcome to the Scott Townsend Show, brought to you by Dietzo Man Productions.
Hey, this is Scott Townsend here with Mark McKinnon, and you're listening to the 57 Things podcast. So how's it going, Mark?
It's going good, Scott. Having a great day. How about you?
Yeah, good. What'd you have for breakfast this morning?
I didn't have breakfast this morning.
You didn't?
Scott. No, I didn't. No, first thing I ate was a salad here at McAllister's.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, no breakfast today.
So we are here at McAllister's, and like we did last time, we picked up on this article I wrote. It's not really an article. It is just a list of 57 pieces of advice that I would give myself if I knew then what I know now. And Mark's got a wealth of knowledge, and so I'm just going to throw. I had Mark pick a number between 1 and 20.
Yeah.
Oh, 1 and 57.
Right, sure.
And he picked 20. So I'm looking at the 20th piece of advice here. Number 20. Always be looking for a better way.
Wow.
So why would I want to tell my former self, my younger self that? Always be looking for a better way. Does that mean you're not satisfied?
No, I think it's what it is you get into a routine of doing things your way year after year. And you figure I've got success, but you're not really giving yourself an opportunity for more success, for increase in whatever area of life you're talking about. I know I was guilty of it. I mean, for years, my son would come to me and say, "You need to do this, that with the donut shop. You need to do social media." And I think, why do I want to do that? I'm doing just fine.
Right.
But there are new ways. There are better ways to do an old thing. And so I don't use radio anymore. I don't use billboards anymore. I don't use newspapers. Everything is done on social media, and as a direct result of that, doing something a better way, it's increased my business over the last year, 2020, in the middle of a pandemic, by 37%.
Wow.
Just by deciding to do something a new way, a different way.
I think of the phrase, "Well, this is the way we've always done it."
Yeah.
And so when you come up, a lot of people will hit you with that when you come up with a quote better way, and then they'll like, "Well, why do you want us to do that? We've always done it this way. Well, there's nothing wrong with it."
Sure.
Well, you're right. There isn't really anything wrong with it, but I think there might be a better way of doing it.
Sure. And so what's wrong with that? I think that you don't want anybody. I think that as a human being, and if you're the person in charge, you don't want to think that anybody could have a better way. You want to think your way is the best way.
Yeah. Or you would have thought about it.
Right. And then I think, the other thing I think that happens is sometimes you find a better way, and you institute a better way, but you don't allow someone to come alongside you and say, "Well, your better way is good, but how about if we tweak it just a little bit?" So then you get stuck right away again.
Right.
We found a better way, so we're not going to tweak anything, and we miss out because I think things move quickly, don't you? In this day and age, everything's changing so fast. So if you're going to be successful, you've got to be willing to make a change on the run.
It's just like these pictures that I showed you earlier about this. I'm going to call him a cartoon character.
Okay.
For those who are listening, we designed a character for an information campaign here, and so we went from, I showed Mark the rough draft to the final product.
Right.
Well, each one of these iterations along the way is a better way.
Right.
And you keep looking for the better way. You tweak it, just like you said, until you come up with the final product, and you go,
"Yeah,
there you go, there you go."
Sure.
But if we would have stopped there and said, "Well, I mean, it's okay. The first draft is okay."
So
you get the artist might get a little, take it personal. Well, what's wrong with my design? Well, I mean, you've got to be open to suggestions and comments, notes.
I guess you're going to be patient, right? Because, I mean, if you're going to do something a better way, and really get the best result, you're going to have to be willing to, number one, take more time to evaluate something. And sometimes I think we evaluate things. We spend more time evaluating what outfit we're going to wear than we do major decisions in life. We're kind of like, I want to get it done. Okay, it's good enough. It's good enough. That's the word. That's something you hear all the time.
Yeah.
It's good enough. Well, is it? Who said it's good enough?
Yeah. Good is the enemy of best.
There's a minister I really like him, and people are familiar with him. Craig Rochelle. I'll use his name.
Yeah.
And he's so on the edge of everything. He has done something that's just cutting edge as far as ministry goes. After he ministers a message for the first time, he then before that next service he has a kid from each age group, 12-year-old, then someone in their 20s, then someone in their 30s and 40s, someone in their 60s and 70s, come in and critique his message. And he takes all of the ideas he got from all those different people groups, and he makes a better way. He takes something that he already spent time and effort on.
And I'm sure he thinks it's really good.
It's really good. But now he's saying, I value the people that I'm going to share this with so much. I want to affect everybody. So the 10-year-old can understand it. The 20-year-old can understand it. The 40-year-old can understand it. So it applies to their life. So that's what I think you're doing when you take time, like you're talking about this cartoon character or whatever. You're trying to develop something that can reach out to everybody.
Mm-hmm. Appeal to as many people.
As many people as possible. Because lots of things appeal to me that don't appeal to you. Sometimes we'll go, oh, that's it, because that appeals to me. That seems absolutely correct.
So how do you put yourself in a position to always be looking for a better way? What does that mean? I mean, does that mean you're constantly critiquing and never satisfied with what's going on? I mean, if you're always looking for a better way, that almost, on the surface, that almost sounds antagonistic, like you're a person who's never satisfied, or you're always searching. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. I think that, like you said, you don't want to be spending every breathing moment doing that. So I think what you can do is, something I've learned to do. I'm not perfect by any means, but I set a date out in front of me 6 months. Okay, in 6 months, I want to revisit this. I want to go back and look at it again and see if there's something that has either changed in society, in my business, through my customers, as far as the businessman goes, that I need to change to make this more accessible to them, or be more user-friendly for my people who come to my shop. Mm-hmm. 6 months is plenty of time, I think. I think anything more than that is overkill. I mean, you're constantly, for me, I'm satisfied. Every 6 months I can sit down and look at it and go, hey, that works for me. I don't want to spend every waking moment doing that.
So there was a bicycle Olympic team in Europe. I think they were Europe, and this was in the book Atomic Habits, and they were like the worst bicycle group.
Yeah.
The worst team in the Olympic trials, whatever. So they got this coach, and instead of making drastic overhauls, the coach started making small tweaks to their practice, to their hygiene, to the nutrition, to the way they put their bikes together, everything. Mm-hmm. Small little tweaks. And he just kept taking what was already there and just kind of like polishing it. Mm-hmm. To the point where, and like after they started doing this, in like a year, 2 or 3 years, they were like the number one team in the world. And you can check Atomic Habits by James Clear to double check that. But the point is, he knew that there was always a better way to store the bikes for his guys, how they eat, how they sleep. And so it wasn't like huge overhauls. It was just minor changes that over time polished, took off the rough edges. They even were super hyper sensitive to germs and getting sick or not getting sick, staying healthy. And they just majored on the minor things and became a world-class cycling group.
Sure.
So, I think if you're wanting, you can always be improving. That doesn't mean you've got to be, a jerk about it, but, you think that there's always got to be a better way. Well, why keep moving forward?
Right.
I mean, we can just stay here. We can just stay here and let things fall apart around us, or we can look for a better way of doing things, which means, what's better mean? So being better means more efficient, more effective, maybe saving time,
Sure.
maybe saving money,
Sure.
maybe making money.
Right.
But if you don't allow yourself to think along those lines and to surround yourself with people who can help you do that, then I guess you're just kind of stuck with good enough.
And that's true in any area of your life, right? I mean, that's true in your relationships, true in your parenting, schoolwork. I mean, it's just, there's something that can always cause you to do better. Like you said, efficient. I think of efficient. I think of things. Because I own a donut shop, so I think about the donut shop, and you're talking about these things, and I think, yeah, like we have these canisters, and these canisters are they hold our frostings, our jellies, our everything. And I can remember when we started, when we just kept. Now this is just the truth, we just kept making more frosting on top of old frosting. Well, it didn't take me too long to figure out that was something wrong with that, because it never tasted the same.
Yeah.
And people would say sometimes, well, it tastes like a day-old donut. And I think, how can that taste like a day-old donut when we're making them fresh every night at midnight? Well, the ingredients that are going on top of that donut can cause it to taste different than it really is. And so we said, okay, so now I went and I said, okay, so now what we're going to do is, whenever we make new frosting, we're going to take all the old frosting out, completely clean the apparatus, mix the new in with the old, mix it in the mixer, put it back in. Well, guess what? It tasted the same every time. The jelly didn't get old, the frosting didn't get old, and so because of a small adjustment, we were putting out a more consistent product. So that's a better way. It's a better way to make a donut. There's a better way to cook a donut. When I first started out, we made. I'll give you another good example. We cooked our donuts at a certain time level. This is how many minutes or seconds you cook something. So I noticed that my donut holes at my shop they come out and they get hard real fast. And I thought, what is wrong with this? This is what they taught me to do. Sometimes to do a better way, sometimes you got to go against what someone else says is success. So I went to a friend of mine and I said, I'm cooking these for a minute and 10 seconds. He said, that's a problem. I said, what do you mean? He said, you need to cook them for 50 seconds. He said, then they come out softer and they'll last throughout the whole day and they'll be fresher. I said, really? 50 seconds compared to a minute and 10? They can't be done. Are they going to be done? Then my concern was, are they done?
Right.
So we started doing it. By God, he was right. We cooked them for 50.
You're talking about 20-second difference.
20-second difference, and that cooking of that product took that donut hole from being good for an hour to being good for 8 hours, and for the same softness and freshness. Just a little better way of doing something. And so you have to really be. You're going to be. To do something a better way. Humble.
Yep.
You got to be willing for someone to be able to tell you that you're not doing it the right way, and receive it, and then act on it.
Well, and the other thing too is like what you just said is you have to be curious, because you were the one who asked your friend, "Hey, what's up going on here?"
It's true.
So humble, be curious.
Curious, yeah.
Be looking around, scurrying around, trying to figure out.
So you're looking for a better way.
You're looking, you're always looking, and keeping your eyes open, and someone comes along and.
Yeah, because there's got to be a better way to do this, because it should last longer.
It reminds me of the McDonald's story. Did you see that McDonald's with Ray Kroc. What was that movie? Just last year, it was with what's his name? He played Batman. He played in.
I'm going to say Bruce Wayne, but that's not what you're talking about. Adam.
Well, he did play Bruce Wayne, not Adam West.
Okay, so
It was
Clooney.
yeah,
Michael Keaton.
Michael Keaton.
Okay, all right.
He played Ray Kroc.
Okay.
Did you see that
No,
movie?
I didn't see it. No.
So they just figured out the Murphy brothers, the McDonald brothers, were obsessed with making hamburgers.
Yeah.
And getting people through the line as fast as possible. So they would set up trials.
Right.
Like they would measure how far things need to be from each other.
Yeah.
And station people in the kitchen, put tape on the floor to make sure people knew where they needed to be standing. And then they would time the process. And then they would do something else and time that process and see if they could shave off a couple of seconds,
Okay.
which they did.
Sure.
And so they became like the fast food
Yeah.
chain that they are now. But
Can you imagine really, honestly, some guy tells you drive-throughs are the way. Drive-throughs ever been done. Matter of fact, when McDonald's did it, people said, this is something you're going to be ready for too. When you start something a better way, all kinds of people are going to tell you, no, that'll never work.
right,
That can't make any difference. People are never gonna drive through. Now, almost 70% of Americans drive through restaurants.
At least.
Okay. So
Yeah.
so that was a better way of getting, a more efficient way of getting their food to the people, right? And so we, like I said, that humility or that cautious, or sometimes you underrate. I think people on the outside, you've got to be willing. If you're going to do things a better way, you've got to be willing to let people who are on the outside influence you, who's doing something, because you can't see everything.
Right.
You're too busy, and something that may not seem like a big deal to you could be just a huge thing to somebody in a church, a business, a relationship. Since we're here talking today, I'm reminded of this. This is such an interesting thing to me. I never thought about this really that much. You were driving through my drive-through line, and you said to me one day, "Hey, Mark, have you noticed that people have to pull your door?"
Oh yeah.
You remember that?
Right.
Because my door would open out, but wouldn't open in.
Right.
I mean, open in, it wouldn't pull out, and so you had to push in on the door to get into the building.
But the handle was a pull handle.
The handle was a pull handle. And so people would come to the door and they heard a pull. And so, to me that seemed like what? I mean, really, is that really that important? Is it that big of a deal, But then once we changed to the door pulling out.
Basically just changing the handles.
Changing the handles. I never had anybody stand at my door and look at me perplexed again. And confused.
That's great.
And so my question for myself had to be, and I've asked myself this when I did it, I said, so how many people got tired of doing that? I mean, it's a real good question.
Yeah.
I mean, you want me to come in, but you don't make it an easy way for me to get into this
Right.
store. So it's just, sometimes it's not the huge, and that was a very small fix.
Very small fix.
I mean,
and really all we were talking about today has been all small
All
stuff.
small stuff. Yeah, but small stuff produces
Adds up.
huge things. And so
Well, the Olympics,
Yeah.
the winners win by hundredths of a
That's
second.
right. So you got to find that. They're going to find hundreds of. It's like your Olympic guys. They didn't always shave all the hair off their body when they swam and stuff. But they found out if they did that, they would gain a 2/100th of a second.
Right.
And all of a sudden they're the champion.
Yeah.
So I think don't you think I guess the way to do things, the better way is it's probably going to be a small thing. It's probably going to be just a little adjustment, and you staying committed to doing it, even when in your mind you think it's not going to produce or work.
So I think today, the things we've identified are be humble, be curious, surround yourself with people that you allow to have input into your business, whatever that business is.
Sure.
And to defend yourself against those who are going to try to get in your way by either discouraging you or actively trying to shut you down. and keep your idea from gaining ground. And if someone says, "Oh, Mark, that's not going to work," if you stop, well, then you're done.
It's true.
So you gotta have a good defense against people who are going to tell you, and you can name people in history. That people told them it's not going to work, it's never going to work, and they just kept at it, and they believed in and it worked.
I guess the other thing I think we could add to that list, Scott, is sometimes something that you might think is a better way isn't a better way.
Isn't.
And so
Well, yeah.
and so you have to be willing to maybe try something and then when you try it, when you see it isn't the better way, eliminate it immediately. Don't hang on for the sake of
pride
saying
I
did it, I could do it. No. Just because you're not going to be. What do they say? I think it's like 1 out of every 10 ideas, or maybe you're feasible. Really, you might have 1 out of 10, 10% of your ideas.
1 out of 100.
1 out of 100, whatever it is. So don't be surprised when everything you try doesn't work.
Exactly.
Just don't hold on. Just get rid of it. But that's how you're looking for something, right?
Right.
You stay looking.
It's just like the Edison example.
Yeah.
They said however many tries he tried to make the light bulb.
Right.
And he just said, I found 1,000 ways that it wouldn't work.
Right.
Well, you just have to keep trying different things, and it doesn't work, and that doesn't work. You just keep, Yeah, I think that's, people sometimes get so invested in something that doesn't work that they don't get rid of it because they're so invested in it.
Sure.
It's got to work,
It has.
You can't.
This has to work.
Right.
And it doesn't. It doesn't have to work. And it's so easy to think that something that works for someone else will just automatically work for you. That's just not true.
No.
Not true. You can be in the same city. See ya, Brian. Selling the same product, but something that he's doing works for him, but it doesn't work for you. So you don't need to just jump on a bandwagon. A lot of people do that. I'm going to fashion my whole business or my whole church or my whole marital life around something that somebody else has had success with. No, that's not going to work. It might. Many times it's not going to work.
So you got to make it yours.
It's yours.
You can take good ideas from someone.
Yes.
It's almost like a recipe.
Yeah.
But you got to make it yours.
Right. You add your little. It's like my mom might make spaghetti one way. My wife might make it another. They both put certain pinches of certain things in there and get that flavor and that taste. That's what we're trying to do.
Right.
Is trying to make it something that's appetizing to everybody. You know what I mean?
Kevin Kelly said, don't concern yourself with being the best. Just be the only. Which I thought was really good. Just be the best you that you can be.
Yeah.
Which is a total different subject, but
that's good.
Yeah. What are we at now? We're at 23 minutes. It's amazing how
time
flies when you're just.
Yeah. That was good, Scott. I
Whatever
enjoyed that. I really did. I enjoy. Most things are. For me, a lot of things are too scripted in life, anyways. The better things come out of just talking. All of a sudden, you find out, you hear yourself talk, you hear yourself say things, and you might even find a better way while you're talking. Oh, I think I might do that.
So let's end it. So, hey, this is Scott Townsend.
Mark McKinnon.
And we'll see you guys next time on 57 Things. Oh, and if you hear this, you like it, share it, subscribe, leave a comment. And if you have a question about anything that we brought up today, leave it in the comments below, or send an email to scotttownsend2400@gmail.com, and we'll try to get those answered in the next episode. So have a good day, and we'll talk to you later.
The Scott Townsend Show is a Dietzo Man production. For more episodes, visit the Scott Townsend Show YouTube channel, listen on Apple Podcasts, or wherever you listen to your favorite shows.